I once worked in an organization which I believe was kind of toxic because of the kind of culture, the kind of appraisal system, the kind of reward system. For many reasons, I didn't think it was the best place for me. Now, if you're in that kind of situation, maybe you feel like you have a bad boss or you have bad colleagues or you have a bad organization. In this video, I'm going to show you how to play the right game so that you can win as a salesperson. My name is Iyore. I've trained over 24,000 salespeople across 5 countries: Nigeria, Ghana, USA, UAE, Rwanda. I'm an author of several books and resources on sales, and I've been featured on a lot of media platforms to talk about successful selling. I worked at an organization where I was given a target to sell to 20 high net worth individuals, and I was able to bring in 21 high net worth individuals in a single month. I also participated in a sales competition where I won, and I was sent for the World Cup for an all expense paid trip. I moved to another organization where I was able to double my portfolio by over 100% in just 11 months. I'm CEO for Ultravantage, and my specialty is in Salesforce management. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me go straight into it. What do you do when you feel you have a bad boss, you have bad colleagues, or you work in a bad organization? The late CEO of General Electric, Jack Welch, who they believe was the greatest CEO of all time, in one of his books, he talks about how you determine if you're going to stay on a job or not. And I think for me, it made a lot of sense. Jack Welch was the founder of the popular appraisal system we use in most sales organizations, where you look at the top performers, the top 20% performers, and you promote them. Then you look at the bottom 20% performers and you send them out of the organization. You hire a new set, look at the top again and promote, take out the bottom 20, and over time you have a very strong and perfect team. Now, this same person who gave us this principle to use to appraise and get the best salespeople in an organization, he also talked about what to do or how to determine if you're going to stay in an organization or not, which I think made a lot of sense. And it's this. He said, if you work in an organization, you're a salesperson, right? It's either you love your boss, you love the organization in terms of the work, the culture, or you love your colleagues. When I say love, I just mean you enjoy or you're happy with them. Now, he said, if you don't have the three, at least have one. So this means you should love at least your colleagues, your boss, or your company, or your colleagues and your boss, or your boss and your company, or your boss, or your company and your colleagues, or the three, but minimum one of them. He said, if you find out that you don't like any of them, you have issues with your colleagues, you're not happy, you have issues with your boss, you're not happy, you have issues with the organization or the kind of work or the culture, you're not happy, then it's time to move on and resign to another organization. But for the meantime, before you choose to resign, you may want to try a few things, which I'm going to show you now. And the first is this, ladies and gentlemen. Just opening my iPad here. The first is this. Before labeling your organization, your boss, or your colleagues as bad, give people the opportunity to prove to you they are bad before labeling them. Don't let it be what other people have said. I worked in an organization where I resumed, and a lot of people were saying a lot of bad things about the boss. Eventually, I realized that this man was my greatest opportunity for a promotion because he loved me. And I believe part of there are many reasons, but I think I may share some of them today into this video towards the end. You may be in an organization and people are saying, oh, it's the boss. They just have a bad impression about the boss for whatever reason. Maybe his standards are very high. So sometimes it's not as if the boss is bad. Maybe he's insultive or he's doing something illegal to you. It could just be that he's so strict because his standards are very high. And because of that, people label him a bad boss. The organization too, it could just be that they have very high standards. Or the way they operate, you are not aware. You can imagine, I moved to an organization. When I got in, I realized that the role I had applied for and I had been given, there was a cap to the promotion. This means I couldn't go beyond a certain level. No matter how much I delivered, I couldn't go beyond a certain level in my promotion. Now, is that the fault of the organization? I didn't do my proper research to get enough information. So imagine somebody who, based on that, just says it's a bad organization, and somebody else comes into the company and I tell the person, hey, this company is a bad place. You can imagine I can't get promoted beyond this level. So my point is, make sure that you give everybody, the boss, the colleagues, the organization, the opportunity to really prove to you that they are bad, because it may not really be so. So just trust, give them the benefit of doubt. Now, what you do if you find out that, oh, I work in a bad organization, or I have bad colleagues, or I have a bad boss, this is what you do. Focus quickly. See, see, if you have an exam and you had a month to prepare, you will take your time and prepare. But if you had a day to prepare, you will be in a hurry. In the same way, when you find out you're in this kind of situation, you don't have time to waste. Be in a hurry. Be so good at what you do so that your boss can be promoted away from you. Did you hear what I just said? You can become so good at what you do and do your work so well with so much excellence that your boss will be promoted away from you. This means by the time they promote him, he will no longer have direct access to your work and direct access to you. Some people say, I have a bad boss. Everything I do, the boss takes it away from me and uses it to shine. No problem. What I'm just telling you to do now is that continue to do it and do it so well. With so much excellence, you will get noticed. I remember in an organization, one of my mentees, he talks about how every work he had been doing, the boss takes it, changes the title, and uses it. And he didn't really know how to circumvent and get past this, but he just kept doing his work. Until one day, the CEO called for a meeting, and she started to discuss, and she says, so tell me what your name is and what you do. That was this guy's opportunity to shine. When he started to tell her exactly what his job role, what he was doing, she realized that most of that work that the boss had been sending to her, what he was wondering it. Immediately, she said, don't worry, I'm changing your department from today. Come over to my department or come over to this department. And that was how that stopped. And he got promoted. He became a manager over time and got better roles. So become so good at it so that when that kind of opportunity comes, the person will say, you were the one doing that work? Wow. Now, another thing is, let me read my notes to you. Be good at what you do so your boss can be promoted away from you, or you can be promoted away from your boss. Beautiful. So this example I gave right now, this guy was promoted away from his boss, or promoted away from your colleagues. You can also be promoted away from your colleagues. So one of the fastest ways to do this is to get deep into what you do and do it the best way possible. Now, just to sound a little warning, don't be a competent jerk. You know, there are people who, they are very competent, but they are so proud. Hey, they can't even get along with the bosses. They can't get along with their colleagues. They always question every policy that comes. It's not your company. You work in this organization. Submit yourself to the policies. Don't say things like, we are salespeople. We are the ones that determine how can they be giving us products when we are the ones, the salespeople, to be determining the products. Shush, don't talk too much. Don't talk too much about those kind of things. Be careful. Be careful. In most organizations, I agree that salespeople, because they sell the products, they should be part of the people who decide and determine how the products are manufactured. But it doesn't really work like that in most organizations. So, not everything that is supposed to be so is so. Not everything that is supposed to be right is actually done right. Some things are not necessarily bad, but they could have been better. So it's not bad that operations designs the products, but it can be better if the salespeople design it. So don't be so good that no one wants to work with you. And there's a reason, because part of your escape routes, apart from being so good at what you do, is, I'm going to talk about that shortly right now, because I don't want to jump the gun. Some people don't like the company and don't want progress, which is true. I'm aware there are people who don't like the company, they don't want progress. They just want to enjoy the politics and have a lot of gist when they get home, which is very true. I'm aware. Nevertheless, do your part. And if you find yourself in this kind of environment, this is what you need to do right now. And this is where I'm talking about the fact that don't be somebody who you're so good at what you do, nobody wants to work with you. You want to make sure that you build your own internal alliance. When you have colleagues who are so toxic, they are not interested in the progress of the organization. All they are looking for is their own belly, is their own satisfaction, is their own way of ripping the company off. What you need to do? Deal with these people by having your own influence or your own alliances. Create your partnerships. Create your relationships. And I talked about that in the previous video. Part of how you create your own relationships. Now, don't look at it like a cult where you say, they have their own team. Let me go and create my own team. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. It shouldn't go that far. All you need to do is create your partnerships and relationships with people who are, one, decision makers when it comes to your appraisal. And I told you, don't go and meet somebody and say, please be my mentor. Just simply make sure that when it comes to the person's work, you go the extra mile to take it seriously, or you see how you can help the person speed up their work. There are little things. I remember I was running a campaign in my organization then, and this campaign I was championing I was in the office, but I was doing it in collaboration with the head office. So this means that all the organizations in all the locations in my region, I was in charge of it. So I remember my boss came in one morning with his two kids, and when I saw them, now please understand that this boss, nobody walked close to him. But when he came in with his two kids one day, I ran and I said, "Oh, I carried them." I said, "Oh, wow, good to see you." He was shocked. I remember him trying to open his door, and he was looking with the side eye, like, "What's going on here?" I said, "Good to see you," and everything. But you know, they were imagine they were daughters. So you can imagine a male carrying a man's daughters. Risky. But let me tell you what the next thing I said. I said, "Sir, our kiddies campaign, our children's party, please, there are two special packs I have extra. I want to give them to your daughters." Now, there were no two extra packs. There were no two extra packs. The challenge was, I knew that in the course of me trying to call clients to come and get their kiddies packs, some of them will not be available, some of them will not be around, and they didn't even know their names on the list. So I just said, okay, I knew that there would definitely be two left. So I said, "I have some two extra packs, especially for your kids." It touched him so much. I gave him those two packs for his kids. It touched him. In fact, he even reminded me, I remember those packs were not even available then. He even reminded me and said, "Iyore, where are those my packs?" To show you that it was important to him. And I invited the kids for the party. I took care of them when they had it during the party we had, because I was running like a campaign for kids. I took them for the party. I attended to them specially. And that built me a relationship, an alliance with a decision maker. Number two, have access to your work. Look at people who have access to your work. Look at people who have power in the organization. Then build relationships by being a major giver. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope I've been able to help you today. And of course, one of the things that can make you somebody very likable is how you dress. If you dress professionally, dress excellently, you find out that you have a good reputation, and these people want to be your alliance. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed yourself like I did. Remember to like,